Corporation case, R period, tilde 385, tilde 460, tilde 312, colon U, period, S period. Cause of the case, citation of the verification of the C treaty that was placed on file and the terms filed on the 16th of June 2003 with the Vatican City Secretary of State's office, Angelo Sedano, Michael, and me, Russell-J. Gould. On June 16th of 2003, I had mailed myself into the Vatican with no U.S. passport and no credentials from the U.S. government. I mailed myself around the world. I did that through a sealed letter of credit of the value that I received from the Vatican on May 30th of 2003. What I did was I mailed a letter to the General-Director of the Vatican City Banking, Russell-J. Gould, at a space coordinates of tilde 4151 North, 1227 East, Apostolic Palace, Vatican City, State, Europe. I mailed it under this registration number here, RR340249-443 US. Instead of refusing the mail, the Vatican City Bank turned around and directed it back to me under international freight waybills, and they placed this label and mail registration RR2005-12053NN. This is classified as a sealed letter of credit, and the bearer of that letter, which is envelope, which is me, has the chance to buy goods, be furnished with money, buy and share commodities, as well as direct goods and commodities for the Vatican City Bank. Because the uniqueness of the quantum system and what I have done with the disqualification of the birth certificate on a worldwide level, I rewrote the constructs for the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund in 2001 through 2003 as the author of the crypto-currencies, placard seniors, and the quantum banking system. When I did that, because the Vatican was cognizant of my uniqueness as an individual who was stopping and correcting in compliance with Title 42, 1986, knowledge of the contracts, and stopping and correcting of the wrongs. The wrongs that I had found was that the International Monetary Fund's charters were conveyed in fraudulent grammar. They were modifying their nouns with adverbs and adjectives and pronouns, making their whole charters completely fraud, as well as the World Bank in Washington, D.C. I rewrote the charters in correct communication, party syntax, grammar. At the time, we were using quantum math, communications, dialogues, methods. But because of the grandfathering of what I've done and what I've created, it's now moved to correct communication, party syntax, grammar, performances. The Vatican, and I spent 3 days at the Vatican meeting with many cardinals and many bishops in St. Peter's Basilica as well as St. Peter's Square. When I arrived at the Vatican with my ship's papers, my credentialing here, an 85-year-old nun met me at the post office and proceeded to take me all around the Vatican because I had many questions. I was on a fact-finding quest to stop and correct the party syntax grammar on the planet Earth. Because I am the author of quantum banking and the author of quantum mechanics, the Vatican allowed me to come into the Secretary of State's office, where I met with Angelo Sedano. Now, my ex-business partner at the time, David Winkle Miller, was not allowed in the meetings. He had to stay outside because of his joinders with the people he was in business with, and I don't have those joinders because I am a solitary condition of the state of banking. However, David sat outside the doors of the Secretary of the State's office, and I had a 3-hour conversation where the Secretary of the State of the Vatican agreed that the Vatican was a fraudulent organization. The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, as well as the Jesuit Order, were fraudulent grammar organizations with no assignment of authority anywhere on the planet, which means they were fraudulently conveyed concepts to gather tithings and harvest the people. So he goes, Russell, this is all fake here. you are a solitary condition of state as a fact with a factual banking system. We would like to join with you, but we don't know how. I says, well, first of all, you can't join with me because you're a fiction organization. But the forensics of the postage stamps as postmastership, we can transport and freight forward cargo from postmaster to postmaster, and this is correct under hieroglyphics for performances. The Secretary of the State then said, okay, he pulled out all of his stamps and put them on a tray on his desk and goes, I'm going to leave the room and I'm going to give you a few hours to put down what you want for terms of your contract, because you are the first guy through the door to ever break down the illusion fraud of the fiction grammar banking system on planet Earth. As the creator of the quantum banking system and the quantum grammar construct, the terms that I published there were as follows. Number one, I was to control all militaries on planet Earth. Why? Because I had a unique knowledge of how the protocols of going into a military, how militaries work to fight postal wars all around the world, and my knowledge of how to stop the wars on planet Earth. They agreed to the terms of the contract. Second, they agreed because I had created the Unity-States of a World Corporation as a grammar hub for corporate businesses on a worldwide level, because I had taken down the Universal Postal Union's ability to create postage stamps, to create certified corporate structure on a global level. So they agreed that I was in the quantum banking system and the quantum postal system would be in charge of all corporations on planet Earth. 3. Because I was the author of Crypto-Currencies on planet Earth in 2001 through 2003, I wrote the constructs for blockchain as well as crypto-currency, that I would be in charge as comptroller of the global-currencies for grammar for crypto-currencies on a global level. 4. Because of my knowledge about how banks work and the authorizations of constructs, that I would control all grammar in each bank on planet Earth. 5. Because of my knowledge of how to create and manufacture banks, wharfs, ports, tariffs, customs and policies from nation to nation, postal construct to postal construct, on a diplomatic construct, I was granted the capacity, through knowledge that I demonstrated in the 3 days at the Vatican, to control the seigniorage for hallmarking gold or commodities on planet Earth. What that means is the quantum banking system is in charge of the hallmarking, which are the numbers on your and the acceptance of fees for seigniorage for sovereigns on planet Earth. 6. Title IV copyrights of the flag, Title IV 1 to 1.9 dimension flag, which David and I were copyright owners of at the time, because David vacated in 2006, but at the time in 2003 he was in joinder. They agreed that the bearer of the flag, which was me, that my autograph would have to be on the contract as the Title IV flag went from port to port, nation to nation. What that means is each contract that has the Title IV flag on it must have my authorization and consent for it to be valid to be used by a bank, by a corporation, or by a port. When the Title IV 1 to 1.9 dimension flag comes into your bank, my thumbprint and fingerprint must be on the contract for it to be valid. For the fiction banks out there that would gaslight citizens, claim-of-the-life citizens, to come into your banks, recognizing your banks in fiction, this is a trap, for your banks have already been disqualified with the disqualification of the Universal Postal Union in the world banking system by me in 2001, 2003. So any citizen that would mail a contract with the Title IV flag in there and you would join with it is a gaslight and coming against the contracts that already is in place. There are very stiff consequences for you and your family, shareholders of that bank, if you allow the Title IV flag, if I'm not on the contract, for it to be coming in and out of those ports and in and out of those banks. Paragraph 1 deals with the claim-of-the-life citizens who are currently actively in the U.S. military right now, and their concerns about having forced medical conditions being forced into their bodies. Because of what I did at the Vatican in 2003 to control all militaries on the planet, it is the bridge over into their world which they've joined in with their quantum claim of the life for neutrality. And so the Postal Corporation military branches do not have authorization to force medical matters into the bodies of these claim of the life citizens. So there's a bridge network set forth for the U.S. military to not force medical matters into the claim of the life citizens who are on active duty within the U.S. military. Paragraph 2 of the contract deals with the citation of the verification of the sealed letter of credit that was done through the Vatican Central City Bank, as well as the authorized through the hieroglyphic forensics of the Secretary of the State at the Vatican's postage stamps. So when I finished up my contract with the Secretary of the State for the Vatican, Michael Sodano, he then placed his embossed seals on the postage stamps and initialed the postage stamps, where I had autographed them, coming in joinder of forensics from postmaster to postmaster to complete the sizing of the contract terms. However, in 2005, Pope John Paul II died, and the conclave by the cardinals at the Vatican, which is a gathering to elect a new pope, broke the continuances of the evidence on their sea treaties and to 11 days, not 10 days, in violation of global trust timelines, breaking the continuance of evidence for the Vatican to have a sea treaty and for outside corporations to join with that sea treaty. So there were many tricks and traps, such as the Society of Jesus, otherwise known as the Jesuits, who have joined with that entity that didn't have authorization to see what it was doing since 2005, therefore creating a fiction upon a fiction upon a fiction. In paragraph 3, because the Vatican vacated on its conclave on April 19th of 2005 with their publication of their new pope, the sea treaty, the authorization to see what they were doing under SEE, they didn't have the jurisdiction to elect a pope because they broke the continuance of the evidence. Paragraph 3 deals with my capacity to take tactical command control of any corporations that would come in contract with the Vatican, because the Vatican is a fraudulent organization creating mischief all over the world through fake storylines and fake actors within the Catholic Church construct. Paragraph 5 of the contract deals with the terms that were established through the Secretary of State's office at the Vatican on June 16, 2003, and the corporations, the military corporations around the world's duty to comply with that, as well as the vessel Joseph-Robert-Biden-Jr.'s employees and the policies that they would set up that would force medical matters into the bodies of the contract claimant, neutral claimants that have claims of the life within the U.S. military right now. Paragraph 6 deals with stopping human trafficking by the Catholic Church and the Catholic Church locations. And I am now paying the fees under the sealed letter of the value credit through the postage stamps of a gold and palladium bond to stop the human trafficking and the smuggling placed in the different countries around the world. Aiding human trafficking by the Catholic Church is no longer going to be allowed. So if they continue to do it, then the letters of the marks for a wartime theater in the public places will be bonded, and there will be no controversy for those coming in to stop the human trafficking, because the court systems of the world are closed because of the martial law. Therefore, those who choose to go into the Catholic Church and stop the human trafficking from happening, you have diplomatic immunity, and the green light is on you as a stabilization force joinder with your claim of the life to now go in and safeguard the planet and stop this human trafficking and human smuggling that is currently being aided by the Catholic Church locations around the world. Paragraph 7. This deals with the claim of the life citizens. It deals with the forensics of not forcing medical matters on the claim of the life citizens who are actively in the U.S. military for a Catholic vessel by the name of Joseph-Robinette-Biden, And that entity, vessel, does not have the safeguard mechanism by the Jesuit order nor the Catholic Church to be forcing medical matters on the claim of the life citizens. And in claim of the life citizens, I have set up a safety net through the quantum banking system. And in that safety net, there's a bridge here, a neutral bridge, spaceport bridge that you're on. On one side of the bridge is an entrance way, and that way leads to death. That way leads to war, and the outcome of war is death. And on the other side of the bridge, with me in the middle as the toll master, with the other side of the bridge, you've paid your fee to enter into the claim of the life contracts. You have the capacity to create your sovereign choice of thinking, to live righteously and accountable for your actions, and to live a happy life. And you can live in a state of neutrality, which has been set up on this global construct in the quantum banking system that I've set up. In paragraph 7, claimants only with claims of the life that are active duty within the U.S. military have a chance to go to lastflagstanding.com to get instructions on where to download this contract. When you download this contract, right above my name, there's a little spot for your name. You only have to barely hit the contract with your name, and you're going to fingerprint it, and you're going to write copy on the page. On the back of the first page, flip the flag page over and the stamp page over. You're going to put your autograph parallel where your name just barely hits the Federal Postal Service station right here. By placing your autograph hitting the stamp, it gives you joinder with the postal system inside the U.S. military, which the forensics of where that postage stamp has been filed will be attached onto the vessel contract, which is here. So you're going to have the forensics of where the stamps were filed, which gives you the authorization to walk into your fort or to your base, headquarters, post office, walk into the post office on the base, and glue your claim of the life on back of this and file this at your base. This will give you a neutral position so that you do not have to participate in forced medical matters into your body. Because you make the sovereign choice. When you join the quantum postal system and the quantum banking system, your freedom of choice to control what comes in and out of your body is yours. Nobody can tell you what to do with your sovereignty of that choice. And so the quantum banking system and the construct is a bridge between the fact and the fiction. The way this works is before you entered into the U.S. military, you walked into the post office and got your postal registration number. I want you to place your postal registration number that you got across the stamp here on the back of the first page. That will pull you outside of the construct of the forcing of medical matters into your body, and you will be in the world, but not of the fiction world. So it is a bridge between fact and fiction of neutrality, which will then be posited into the post office of your base or of your post or wherever you're located, your fort or wherever you may be of the post office, which your headquarters, which you're working out of. This will give you the capacity of sovereignty for your bodies and for your vessels and for the medical matters that someone would try to force in and out of you. It gives you the capacity to say no if you so choose to. Because the bridge has been set through the performances from 2003 at the Vatican to establish me to run all militaries and control all militaries on planet Earth. At the same time, you claimants, you life birth beings, have made the choice to create a sovereign space for yourself, where you are a tenant within the construct of what's been set up for you to participate with into the quantum banking world. This is a safeguard mechanism that I have given to the world. And I'm so thankful that you are participating in the construct that's been set up for all of us. In the next paragraph, in paragraph 8 deals with as you go to your post office on your voyage with your postal registration number through the stamp. And as you've autographed the copy of the front stamp up front, and you glue your claim of the life onto the contract, the quantum banking system has posted a bond for you. The bond is for $1 million in gold and palladium. which has been posited on your behalf by me into the quantum banking system to backstop your voyage into the post office. Therefore, you comply with the maritime rules of vessel movement under bonding, and an underwriting has occurred to be posited into your quantum world. Therefore, the value of the gold and the palladium will now be functioning as your security bonding to stop and block the force medical matters that someone would try to force into your bodies, in compliance with the contract terms filed on June 16th of 2003 at the Vatican for me to control all militaries and corporations on planet Earth. I am humbly here to say that I've worked tirelessly every day of my life to put a construct together in the quantum system, to backstop it with tangible value, which I've manufactured with my own hands, to give you the confidence to walk in as a bonded vessel in the movement of the shipping wars, sliding yourself not into the shipping war, but into the space of neutrality. And in that space of neutrality, you have your ship's papers, which are here, which you will posit into the post office. You will take a copy with you, so you will have the post office on the base put their stamp over where the postage stamp is, their bullet stamp, their round 8 stamp here on the stamp, and then you will have them stamp a copy for you, and you will take that out with you. So therefore, you have your ship's papers for neutrality during the state of hostile states engaged in martial law around the world. This is the safety net that has been set up for the citizens that have joined my quantum postal system and the quantum banking system, that have exercised their rights of sovereignty to make choices on what they allow medical-wise into their body, so that you can live at peace with yourself and with your family. I worked really hard, putting the gold on the table and the palladium on the table and the knowledge that took place there. And I'm very humble to tender it to the claim of the life citizens that are within the U.S. military. I hope you take this quite serious, because when the metal hits you in the face, it really leaves a mark. It's kind of a ding. Ding, ding! It's an eye-opener. But for those of you who would contest this position, so you deal with your choice, and just keep in mind, knowledge is power. Be very cautious on who you trespass with on this planet. You might not like what you find. Then again, you might. There's a yin and yang to things. There's happiness on the bridge, but then there's also death. Choose where you serve: bad, death, or good, light, love, happiness, righteousness, peaceful. You're God. Now that the neutral claim of the life citizens are learning how to use their claim of the life contract and become claimants for their sovereignty and claim the position of how they choose to govern their lives, know now that the bridge has been set up on a corporate level, that you are now in the world, but you are not of the fiction grammar world, that you are in the world of corporation, but you are not compliant to the fiction grammar corporation, nor because now you are directing your sovereignty in the corporate world of business. The bond for the movement of the vessels within the quantum banking system for those who are claimants, neutral, life birth beings within the U.S. military. This branch is now open for you to use. And if you have any questions, go look at the instructions at lastflagstanding.com. I'm Russell-J. Gould, Postmaster-General, Keymaster-Pontiff of the Vatican, and Commander-in-Chief.